Hey, and we're back with another episode of the Cheeseman Experience, Too Skilled to Fail podcast. You know, it's your girl, Tanisha Smith, and I am here with a very, very special guest. I'm going to be asking her a bunch of questions about her life. You're going to get to know her a little bit better. Without further ado, my guest, Tanisha Smith. Hey. Woo! Thank you for having me. All right. So, is this your first podcast? This is not my first podcast, but in this setting, I'm happy to be in here in your space. All right. Okay. So, how long have you been doing podcasts? It's definitely been off and on. I started my first podcast prior to COVID, and my goal was to not just be a podcast. I wanted to kind of be out in the public and interview people as they were just working their normal jobs, entrepreneurs, and kind of getting a love for what they do as an entrepreneur. And so to me, the best way to do that was to be out like at their location. So here we are now to where podcasting is just something I do right now on a regular basis. Where do you stay at? Las Vegas. I am right now currently living in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been here for the last 4 years, and I am looking forward to being here for many, many, many more years just because this is definitely one of those transitions for me. I moved from California after being there all my life to moving Las Vegas 4 years ago with a hope to like just kind of like rediscover myself or discover myself, if you will. What made you leave California and move to Vegas? I wanted to live like I was on vacation. Every day I wanted to live like I was on vacation, but actually I raised my kids in California all their lives until they got much older. And then when they started to move out, it just became just kind of like more and more lonely. And then COVID hit and became like just a really lonely place to be in the house. And I was like, I want to move somewhere where I can just feel like there's more of an adventure. I know there was more to my life than me just being the mother, raising kids. And so I came up to Las Vegas just kind of like, let my hair down. Did you know anybody when you came to Vegas? I did not know anybody in Vegas when I moved here. Really? Okay. Yes and no. Did I have friends? People that I knew in general? Did I have family members? Yes, but family members that I actually hung out with on a regular basis? No. The closest thing I had, my cousin was here in Las Vegas, and her and I had always known each other since I was really little. It's my cousin through my stepdad, but we knew each other, but we did not grow up together. Mm-hmm. And so when I got here, I basically latched onto her, and she's like my sister now. So she stuck with me. Oh, wow. Okay. So what was that transition like for you? No, I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like I knew that many people. Being that I was born and raised in California, I was in such a, I guess, cycle when I was living out there that I really didn't get to know a lot of people outside of work, other than going to school when I met kids in school and growing up, left school, met some people in college. And then other than that, it was just people at work just because I had a bunch of kids when I was younger. So I didn't have a bunch of friends that we would go out and do stuff and do lunches and brunches together with. But now it's a whole new platform. How did you get in your work field, and what is that like as far as work-life balance? I am definitely I don't think it's a work-life balance thing. I'm an HR person, so we talk about work-life balance all the time. So I am going to debunk that a little bit because to me, there should not be a total balance between work and life. It should be more on life. And then work is that necessity for the most part. Hopefully you love what you're doing, but I don't believe in having it as a direct balance. I definitely feel life, and anyone who knows me knows that life weighs way more than work to me. I'm working because I have to. If it was up to me, I'd be a hippie gypsy and live around the world. And no offense to anybody who is a hippie or a gypsy, but I would be traveling the world and not be focused on any type of work. If I can make it without money, I would. Money is not even an object for me, really, not an important key of my life. Do you travel a lot? And what is your favorite travel spot? Do I? Yes. I travel as much as I can. I want to explore this world. I want to find out what is in my backyard, meaning traveling just around the U.S. and traveling to states just next door, but also just as far and wide as I can. I think the most adventurous thing yet to come, if I can make it, if I can will it, is going to be Antarctica. But other than that, my favorite and best travel trip has been South Africa. Even though I've been to East Africa, South Africa has been my favorite so far. Why is that your favorite travel spot? Good question. The people, the culture, the just environment. When I got there, I felt like that was the one place, and I say it all the time, but it's the one place where I felt like I can sit down, my phone cut off, and just be without worrying about taking any pictures and just being. When the people in the country, when you got there and you hear people saying, "Welcome home, my sister," in their accent, and you felt it like through their voice, I was like, I love this. I love this. I can go to other places and I go to Mexico a lot. When I'm in Mexico, it's a different good feeling, but being in South Africa, I just felt like I was definitely around my people. I know it's a long flight from the US to South Africa. Do you have a fear of flying? Because I know I do. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. I started flying and traveling for work many years ago, and it was an ask for me. I asked my boss if I can travel. I was requesting to be able to be a trainer in another location. I was requesting to be able to be a benefits administrator and support in another location just so I can get on a plane and I didn't have to pay for it myself. And so when I first started traveling, it was just for work mainly. And I'd get to the airport, and I'd be so nervous. I would clench the seats. I was too nervous. And then one time, a pilot sat next to me, and he saw me clenching. I mean, if I could have been white knuckled, I'd have been white knuckled on that plane. And he was like, "Think of it like bumps on the road. Think of it like, I mean, granted, you just mentally have to get there, especially when you don't want to feel the angst that I was feeling. You kind of get yourself there by way of just listening." So I listened to him. He's like, "Just think of it bumps on the road." And sure enough, slowly in time, I end up really just adapting to that. So when there is turbulence or something like that, or if taking off, the G force from taking off used to scare the hell out of me. But now I'm like, that's all right. It's not bad. It's just bumps on the road. What was that like to be an empty nester and have your kids move out? Victory. Okay. Hopefully they won't watch all this part. But I have 5 children. I'm a mother of 5. So my oldest daughter is 30 years old. And then it goes down from there. My one and only son is 26. I have a daughter 24, a daughter 20, and a daughter that's 17 in her last year of high school. So been a mom since I was very young. I was 16 years old. So being a mom has been all that I really knew in my young adulthood, my late teenage years, into my young adulthood. And so right now, being a mom, what it means to me is, one, I can actually reflect on all the times I had with them. I made all my mistakes and then some, but now I'm actually enjoying them as young adults. We can have conversations like this right here. Um, that I'm having right now, and I'm gonna say big enough, or I'm at the point enough to where I'd be like, yeah, I could have done better with that. Or I'm also at a point with being a mother that I could say did the best I could, and I'm okay with that. Are you a grandmother? Oh, I am a grandmother. I'm a grandmother of 5. I have 4 grandbabies of my own for my natural children, and then my stepdaughter has one. So she's not even a bonus baby. She is my grandbaby. So I have 5 grandbabies. Yeah. Being that you have so many kids, how was that being that you were a young parent and then you got older parenting your children? I mean, did you get more strict? Did you get more lenient with them? How is that? I definitely noticed. I noticed that not just with grandkids. I noticed that with the younger kids, and people say that as well. My mother had 8 kids, and she definitely was at a point to where, and I think for me, I know what it is now from my perspective. I had kids really young, so I was strict, and this is all I knew. I basically taught my daughter, or treated my daughter, and like my mother taught me, like, don't touch the fire, don't touch this cord, don't do that. Like everything, instead of that gentle parenting that a lot of people are talking about now. I didn't believe in that. I didn't grow up that way, so I didn't believe in that. And as I got older and my kids got older, the younger ones basically did get away with a lot. They got away with a lot more. And just because I was less stressed, and just because I learned a little bit more how to relax and not be so, okay, if I don't do it right, people are going to judge me because I'm a young parent. If I don't say the right things, if I feel like I don't parent, then I'm not doing my job. And so I got to a point where got out of my own head eventually and just let it go. I mean, my oldest daughter, if she was sitting here, she would be saying like, man, I had the gamut. Like you were on me. I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't go nowhere. And the other kids, I'd be like, let me know when you make it. Bye.
Did your age play a factor in your parenting style?
No. I could say for me, I mean, yes and no, but it's a couple ways to answer that question. So if I'm thinking in the perspective of how I parented my kids, yes, being very young, I was learning with them. As a 16-year-old, right now having a 17-year-old, and can't imagine her having a baby right now. So my parenting skills kind of came from by way of my mother. I didn't know any different. And so as I've gotten older, it was just more so, would I parent differently? If I can go back to being 16 years old and have the knowledge that I do now and have the peace in me that I do now, because that was important, I would definitely parent different. I don't know if my kids would have grew up with no shoes on. They would have, go play in the dirt. That's okay. We're gonna wash you up and take a bath. I grew up thinking that you're gonna get gangrene any opportunity we went outside. Oh my gosh, don't stub your toe or else you're gonna, pour some peroxide on that and go outside and play again. I grew up so different. Then I raised my first kids, earliest ones like that. However, my younger two, they have a different dad, and so we parented different based on my ex-husband. He's from a different country. He was raised totally different. He was raised like farm life versus, in a regular kind of city setting. And so for him, he was like, diaper training, let him go outside. They'll figure it out. They'll figure out. Let them go outside with no diaper on. They'll figure it out. My kids were like, I called them like my little Bam Bam and Pebbles because they were definitely just let them be.
You said you have one son. How important is it to raise a young man?
Mm. My experience with raising a young boy, I can't ever say that I was a single parent at all by any means. His father was definitely around all his life, but my son was definitely very not outspoken and shy. And so one of the things I tried to do, and his dad was definitely let him be. He is who he is. Get to his personality is chill. That's how I am. That's how he's gonna be. So I wanted to raise him more so to be more. I don't want to say the wrong word because it's not aggressive. I wanted him to be very much more kind of protective over us as the women. So he's the one boy, and then there was 4 girls in the house. So I felt like he should be more outspoken, and he was the one to be on top of it. I'm happy I did not do that because I feel like that would have put more pressure on him to kind of be that way. I think he's learned. He is a sweet guy. He is a very sweet guy. I know no man wants to hear they're a sweet guy, but he is a sweet man, young man, dedicated to the girlfriend he's dating right now, his relationship. He reaches out to me and calls me and just says, "Hi, mom, I love you. Just want to say hi, I love you." And I like that, and that's enough for right now. I just thought that since he wasn't outspoken, since he did kind of hang back and wasn't in the forefront for the most part, he was not going to be like a protector. That's not the case. But I think it's important to definitely instill some kind of responsibility on the young boys. I mean, he was that one that my girls always did so much for him. And so he didn't have to do much. That little boy didn't even dress himself when he was little. My oldest daughter always like put his clothes on for him. He could be still halfway asleep with his eyes closed, and she'd be like, "I got him. He's okay. He's tired." And he would let him. And I'm like, "Boy, if you don't get your behind him." So that's the kind of parenting I was. I was more so like, "Nah, I'm not gonna let you be lazy boy." So
I know there's a lot of opportunities to see live music in Las Vegas. Are you passionate about music?
for me, my passion for music is not for me, and I'm not a musician. But my passion is for other artistry, so or other artists. And so for me, I can go all the way back to my stepfather being someone who was a radio DJ, someone who was also in a band earlier on. So it was really exciting to know that he had a record out because I didn't know anybody else with a record. Like to me, that's famous. It's just like people when people first start writing books. If you wrote a book, in my mind, you were famous, you were popular, you were everything. So he was my first and like I guess fan. I was like that fan person over my stepdad who was in music. And so for right now, a lot of the people that I do connect with are in music in some way, just because it just grounds me a lot. It centers me back to that childhood personality who wanted to just be listening to the band. It was no groupie type of situation. It's just like I want to just sit here and listen to music, and music is something that TV doesn't do it. taking drives, sitting in a bathtub. If I turn on music, I can totally zone out and get into my creative space. And so for me to go out and watch an artist perform or sing, I get that each and every time. I get re-inspired. Just like I do though also with if someone is in production and plays and in video and film, those feed me totally.
You moved to Sin City. Dun, dun, dun. Some may think it's scary. Some may think it's just crazy to live here. I had a mindset that no one really, 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 really lives in Las Vegas and stays in Las Vegas all their lives. However, I've met a ton of people who actually are born and raised right here in Las Vegas. How do you feel about living now in Las Vegas?
Mm. Oh, I would never raise my kid. You want to be honest? My honest opinion is I couldn't see myself personally raising my kids if I were to go back and still have the kids in the house. It's a lot going on. It's an overload. However, it depends on what you're doing. So if you're out and I don't work outside of the home. So if I'm out and about on a regular basis in Las Vegas, there's a lot to get into. There's a lot teenagers can get into. It's a whole, and I had 5 kids with 5 different, totally different personalities. So I feel like there would be too much access here in Las Vegas, but at the same time, that could have been any city. It really comes down to how much I am really on top of and was on top of my kids. But it still makes me nervous when I go outside and I see certain things. I'm like, ooh, I would never want to raise my kids out here. It's great that I'm here as an adult, but it's definitely an overload. The education system, I have only have a little bit experience in it. My daughter's here. She got here in her half of her junior year, and now this is her senior year. So education wise, I don't have the full gamut. I do hear that on that side, it's not you know, the best school system and education system. People come from different places. Like I was doing this 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And just the passing rate, allowing kids to pass when they're not really meeting all of the markers that they're supposed to meet. I don't agree with that at all. Um, so there's those things. But all in all, heat, I can deal with that. The cold even. So for me, California is not as cold. And so the cold is even something that is different for me, but is doable. I feel like it's so beautiful. The sunsets, the sunrises here in the city are just amazing. I thought I was gonna miss beaches and oceans, and I thought I was gonna miss like greenery. And I miss none of that. Mm-mm.
So you mentioned that you work from home. So what is that like to actually work from home versus going out and working in the world again?
Gosh, there's it's a double edged sword. This is something I wished for and I prayed for and I hope to have and be able to have the opportunity one to travel and work wherever I wanted to work and then work from home. However, the first time I did it, it didn't come by like me making it happen. It came by way of COVID. So I was working. I was a consultant at the time, but I still was going into client offices. And so when COVID happened, there was a couple of things that happened at the same time. My kids were with their dad for that school year. I was now working from home. I'm now sitting in the house Monday through Friday, day in, day out, Monday through Sunday, day in, day out in the house that I once raised my kids here in, hearing the pitter patters of them running down the hallways, making noise to total silence. So unless I was on a meeting and sitting there, it was just me and by myself. And so that was my first reality of like, ooh, I don't know if I like this working from home. I don't have any interaction with anybody. And then on top of that, I was the problem solver. Being in HR, I'm the problem solver for the client groups that I have. And so they're looking for solutions. How can we get employees inspired? And how can we reduce burnout of our fatigue, of Zoom fatigue, and all those things like that? So I'm coming up with solutions and hey, let's do this, this virtual wine tasting. Let's do this. And then I get home and I'm like, there's nothing for me. Like that was for the client group, right? Not necessarily was I in those meetings. And so the fatigue of just being at home and being myself and being online all the time got tiring. And so the best thing when I did move to Vegas, that was another reason. I was like, I need to be somewhere where I feel like I'm on vacation. When I leave and cut off, I need to be able to get up and go somewhere. Now, granted, I moved out here, still COVID was still around. And so I didn't get to just jump out and do a bunch of stuff, but it was a little bit more lax in the Bay Area. And I got to do a little bit of stuff which helped me kind of cope with it. Let me see. There's pros and cons. Be able to kind of be at home and put a load of clothes in. All this stuff doesn't sound glamorous, but at the same time, I also don't have to do it in the middle of the night when I'm after going to work and driving and dealing with people all day in person. I also go into clients' offices every once in a while, and the balance that I'm doing right now is perfect because I can't see myself sitting in there Monday through Friday anymore. For those who still do, I'm sorry, I get it. But because I have my focus time where I'm just here, I'm doing what I have to do. There's no interruptions. When I'm in work, it's like, oh, I gotta get coffee. Oh, by the way, oh, you're here. Let me, and we're having these casual conversations. We're checking in about weekend. How was your weekend? An email's enough for that for me. How was your weekend? Weekend was great. Thank you. How was yours? Okay, bye. And we move on. When you're in person, it's a little bit more conversations that you have and time suck. But I like being able. All in all, I like working from home.
I definitely feel HR is tough to get into. You have to know somebody to get in. How did you get into HR?
I started off as a receptionist at a company many, many moons ago. And they had an opportunity for me to be HR, excuse me, they had an opportunity for me to be the receptionist plus marketing, like to help out with marketing things. So I helped out with that. In addition to that, there was a person who was doing operations and benefits. So she needed some help. So I became everyone's like help and assistant. When I left that particular company, I went to a new company, and what they were looking for was somebody who can be in basically an admin to the admins, work in any department, help out any department. The person I was reporting to was HR, and with that, I took on the anything he needed help with. I would be basically his assistant, or if someone needed help in the research department and somebody needed help in whatever department. Eventually I was like narrowed myself down and I was like, I want to be in HR. I want to officially be in HR. I don't want to be a coordinator, the coordinator anymore. I want to be an HR something. Give me an HR title. And so over the years, I was there for 13 years. So over the years, I worked my way from being that coordinator for the entire business company and site to being in HR. So HR led me to just regular HR, to recruitment, to doing marketing things, and then so on and so forth. And I had already had some marketing background from the startup company I had started with too. So I just kept on blending all the knowledge that I had. And now here we are.
I can imagine there's some burnout to that. You've been in HR for quite a bit, a long time, I would say even. What does that feel like to be in it so long? Is there a burnout?
Oh, absolutely. I had been in HR for maybe 16, 17 years before I was ready to leave HR. I want to say about 16 years. I was ready to leave HR altogether. I was like, I'm just over it. I'm tired of being just the main go-to. Let me try something different. I pigeonholed myself into HR, and now I feel like I have to do this for the rest of my life. Now, granted, I do a bunch of other things on the side to keep my mind busy and occupied, but that was my main source of income and business. And so I was like, let me try to learn something new. And so I went from HR to operations for a little bit and worked in operation. And then what I found out was there was a lot of the same type of nuances from operations to HR. And it just refreshed myself. And then I just realized, okay, I can do HR, operations, marketing, which I do all in one and not leave HR behind. That really, I just needed just another pick me up outside of doing the day-to-day HR. I think for me the best part about HR is there's so many different areas within HR that you just have to be able to tag into. There's comp benefits, leaves of absence, there's employee relations. There's so many different areas of HR that it allows me to not get bored.
I'm sure there's many opportunities for you to do some public speaking, doing HR and being in the business. I know a little bit about it myself. What does it feel like to be public speaking and in front of an audience?
Yeah, I like to think that I was good at public speaking. But I wasn't. I like to think that I was at the beginning. It took me a while to learn. I remember watching somebody. He was up. I was in my late 30s or mid 30s. I was in my mid 30s, and he was up in front of an audience, and it was WFG World what the Financial Group. He was up speaking in front of this audience. He was like 22, 23 years old, and I'm like, wow, he speaks so just well and clear, and he has so many insights and nuggets and experience at 22 years old. And the way he was talking and the way he was kind of delivering, it just made me say, "Oh, I want to do that." And I remember saying it to the person I was with, that's something I want to do. I want to be able to speak that way in front of an audience, and I want to command an audience. And so I worked on that. So mind you, this is mid 30s that I was looking at doing this, and here I am now. I can get on the stage like last minute if you give me the microphone. I'd rather you give me the microphone last minute than talk to me for 10 days about what we're going to talk about, and then I'm supposed to remember everything. I'm good at, I feel I'm good at last minute. Here you go, pass the baton. Other than that, it's very comfortable for me to talk about areas of business and opportunity, and then also just my experience in life. And so those are the things I really sign up for. I kind of don't sign up for things that I don't know the material. If I have to learn the material, to me that's more like me acting. If I know the material, if you're saying, Tanisha, I want you to talk to us about HR and benefits. I want you to talk to us about leadership and opportunity. I want you to talk to us about an employee relations program. Boom. I mean, a employee opportunity, like a program. I got it. There's nothing to that. If you tell me, I want you to tell me about automotive or something like that, I'm gonna give you the script. Just talk to them about it. Oh, I'm gonna epically fail on that part. I mean, I'll wing it.
Outside of work, what do you like to do?
Other than chasing music opportunities, to see music opportunities. For me, I am also trying to read a bunch of different things at the same time. So I have a couple of books that I'm reading right now. One is about procrastination. My actually stepdad wrote about that. I have another one. It is Radical Candor. So Radical Candor is something that I really like. And so Kim Scott is the writer of this book. And so reading this is actually a business book that I like, kind of like a book that I like to read. And I've read more than once, called Mindset. The Procrastinate This and Gray. That's my stepdad. He is great about writing kind of short books that will give you actually the nuggets you need and tools that you need. So I've been really focused on the stuff that he's been doing. And then Problem Child. So I got this book signed. I'm so excited. I went over to Atlanta to the event that Terrell Carter, he did his record release event this month, here in September. And he talked about his book, but he also talked about his new album. And so I'm excited about that. And so reading his book, it is a great read and a tough read at the same time, because he shares so much about his life. And it actually one of those things that it inspires me to be just as honest and candid as I can about my own life, because I don't tell, I like to talk around certain details if I can, but books like that make me tell it like it is. And then the last one is Cognitive Behavior Theory. Now, granted, is this like one of those things where you're like, oh my God, I'm having so much fun reading this book? It's not, but it's so much knowledge in one book. And this is not a book you're just reading. It actually has a lot of different things to where you are completing things, writing in here. They'll have you basically, writing out your life. It's like journaling in a way. So those are the things that I'm doing right now outside of like going out and listening to music and doing music events. I like to travel, as you know, travel around the world. And then my daughter is here right now. She's living with me. So she's a cool kid. She is one cool kid. Backstory real quick on that is she moved with her dad during COVID for the last 4.5 years. And she was young when she did that move. So she was like 11, 12 when she did the move. And so now I'm just really getting to know that teenage, young girl. I would see her and fly to go see her. She'd come here and things like that. But I became the weekend parent, or if you will, or the summer parent for a long time, which was the first time in my life doing that. And now I'm getting to know her, and she likes to hang out. She likes to just go out to eat. We took a hike the other day together, and so it really cool. It's really cool to like hang out with her.
Do you see any shades in yourself and your youngest daughter?
Oh, absolutely. In the good sides and the bad sides. On the good side, she definitely is. She's definitely someone who cares about other people. She wants people to. She does not care too much, and I think this is the part I see about me that at her age I didn't realize about myself. She didn't care to be a people pleaser at all. For me, I thought I had to. I thought that I had to do a little bit more of that. I love that she's at the point like where I am now. I'm like, I'm not pleasing nobody. And she's like, shh. But when I was younger, I would. So I look at her and I'm like, oh, you're like me now, more so now than I was. I wish I could have been at 17. But a lot of it was for me stifling myself because I felt like I had to quiet myself because of my being a young parent, didn't want to speak out too much. They want to make enough noise to start some mess, but she don't care about that stuff now, and I love that about her. Um, yeah,
What is it like to have a young adult in the house working and then still going to school? Do you encourage her to work or do you encourage her to just kind of go to school?
yeah, she's working right now. So this is her second job, so she is working. She's at a point. And here's the thing: I told my daughter that she didn't have to. You don't have to work, but if you want extra money, if you want to do a little bit extra than the normal, you eat, you get. Obviously, if you need some clothes, you need something, I got you. Hair products. Is a big thing for us in this house. But if she needs something like that, I got her. But if she wanted extra things, then she's gonna have to work, and so she's doing that now. Because I want her focus to be. I felt like everything for me was charged because I had a baby, so I had to go to work. I had to do something. And if I can give one of my kids the opportunity not to put that pressure on them that they have to go to work and just say focus on your education, like your one job could be your education and clean your room. If I can just focus on that, if they could just focus on that, that would be amazing.
Did you have a set dating rule for your kids?
Oh, it changed for every one of them. I was up, I was down, depending on how my dating life was going. No, my oldest daughter, you know what? I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't want her to date. I didn't really. I'm just saying, I didn't really know when she was dating. Um, but once she started to date and bring somebody around, a particular person she brought around, I didn't like him. And I told her early on, I was like, I didn't like him, and I needed to be able to articulate that better than I just don't like him for her to understand. Her and I had this conversation more recently. She's like, I remember you telling me about him and telling me like the signs that you saw based on her, what she told me. I wasn't digging based on what she was telling me. I was like, you need to watch that. But as a parent or as a child, you don't want to listen to that. You just want to do what you want to do. You don't want to hear your parent telling you not to go chase after something that they felt wasn't right, even though you felt in your heart it was right. And so that was one. And then with my son, he was my one son. So I kind of was just like, and I think sadly that's how we do. And that's how boys do. I'm like, cool, you got a girlfriend? Like, I'm encouraging it. You got a girlfriend? And then my third child, my child, I love her. That's all I'll say. She's a little different when it comes to dating. And so the type of people she dates has been around the same type of people. And yeah, like I said, I love her. Next kid. The other one, I love the person she's dating right now. So I'm encouraging that. I'm like, but I also get that they're in college. They're both in college right now. They're both trying to take care of things in college. So don't push the relationship, but figure out how they can just remain friends and help her balance that because she brings it to me. And then the last one, she's a free for all. I don't know what she's going to do with herself. I don't know. We'll figure it out. She'll figure it out.
So you said you have an oldest at 30 and your youngest at 17. Are any of your kids married? And what was that like to experience them getting married, if so?
So my oldest daughter, I was actually a part of the wedding and I was at the wedding. My other daughter, I found out while I was visiting her and we're talking and someone asked her over the counter, like, what brought you to the city to live way out here in Texas? And she's like, oh, my husband. I went, your husband? We'll talk about it. I knew who he was. But I didn't know they officially got married. She's like, yeah, we just went to she was like, oh, we just went to the courthouse. I was like, I'm still just finding this out right now. Okay, go ahead. So this is what I say. I let them be. I let them be. And we haven't had a conversation. I don't know if she felt some type of way about sharing that, but she didn't share with anyone. So it wasn't like I was the only one that didn't know. She hadn't shared it with anyone. So I don't know. One day we'll have that conversation, like if she wants to. Like, did you just want to keep it to yourself or?
Okay, so back to the creative side. Have you ever tried writing? Is that an inspiration of yours to do some writing?
Yes, I'm currently writing a couple of different things. One, I'm writing a movie script. So one of the things I really want to do in my life, God willing, is to be able to direct and produce a film or multiple short films if I can. So right now I'm writing my first short film that I'd like to be able to produce and get out within 2026. So I'm speaking it into existence. So 2026 for that. And then I'm also though a writer. I've been writing poetry since I was in elementary school. From elementary school, I actually have the notebooks from not elementary, from junior high school. I have those notebooks still. That I don't have the ones from elementary and wish I could have found them. But those are the composition books. So elementary was composition books when you had to write in the morning in the composition books. I had those. Cannot find them. My mother didn't have them, and I know I used to write a lot. But I definitely have my junior high school notebooks that I used to write poetry in. And so what I want to do is put the book of poetry together and put that out. And then there's a couple of other books that I'm working on when it comes to business and leadership. And then there is a book about my surrogacy journey that I want to write. So that's the start off.
You mentioned manifesting. Is that something you do all your life, or is it something that you just kind of tried out here and there? What is that like for you?
Yeah. I feel like if I don't manifest it, it's not even something for me. I have manifested everything I wanted in life. I can say as far back as I remember thinking about how I wanted my path to be. I didn't see anybody who was doing what I was doing in my peripheral view. So my parents didn't go to college. My parents didn't travel the world. My parents had kids, but they didn't travel with us around the world. And so for me, I wanted to do everything. I just visualized myself going to school, getting my degrees, traveling the world, starting businesses. I didn't know anyone who started their own business at all either. So I wanted to just I manifested that a lot of just what that would look like. Um, Prayed on it. There was so many different things that I did to just make sure it happened. Studied about it, followed people that I wanted to, and this is prior to social media, but it was really following people that I wanted to emulate. So people at work, if I saw them and I saw them as successful, even it's just basically what I saw. Forget what they felt internally because I understand that there's another side of that. But when I see someone that looked like the success level that I wanted to get to next, and I say that for a reason, next I would attract to that. I would start asking them questions. I'd interview them in a way that didn't feel like it was invasive to try to just learn. How did you get that? Oh, okay. Well, what degree did you get to get to there? And then when it came to that, once I achieved that, I was ready for my next level. And that was all like drivers for myself. Like I knew I wanted to get to a level. I remember saying before I had my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, or master's degree, I was like, I want a master's degree. And then the counselor was like, okay, well, you're going to have to start off with your associates. Let's get some credits under your belt. You don't have any credits really. So, but I just knew what I wanted. I was like, okay, whatever it takes, I need to get there. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a couple of houses. I want to live in a couple of different places. So I bought a couple of homes, but I ended up only living at one. The rest I just had rental properties or something like that. But I yeah, everything was manifestation.
How has your mindset played a factor in the successes in your life so far?
It does. It definitely does. Speaking of mindset, I definitely feel like there's a lot of things that are fixed within me, and just because of my childhood, that I still gotta just break barriers and get into. But for me, I always had this mindset of just making it happen, and I'll tell you that's really from my mother. While I can talk about my mother being someone who was like scared for me to travel, scared for me to do things, she didn't speak up for herself. She also taught me if there was a will, there's a way. And I always say that and know that is a common term, but she was really adamant about that. And watching her, thinking about how she moved in her life, though she didn't do all the things that she wanted to do, I definitely feel like everything she wanted to achieve, make sure she had a clean house, making sure we were fed and taken care of, we make sure our holidays and our Christmases were all just elaborate in the way she could do it. We didn't know. Again, we just for us not to know that we were poor at all. I didn't know we were poor. That's because how my mother took care of everything brilliantly. That to me showed a lot of her, like about her resilience. And so she taught me just how to just, I mean, it's not necessarily fake it till you make it. It's like keep on doing it until it is where you want it to be. And so that's where I am now with my business and everything. I started my business 8 years ago with no blueprint. No, everyone's like, do you have a business plan? I still to this day don't have a business plan. I do not have a business plan. I am working on hope, prayer, ambition, drive, like the personal drive that gets me going. And then the people around me, my why is definitely the people around me. So my kids can see that I did work, and whether it be my kids, my grandkids, or great grandkids, I want them to see that I hustle so hard. And that someone's, I saw this meme a long time ago. So hustle so hard to where they're asking if you're hiring. And to this day, I am now today I'm getting multiple people that ask me if I'm hiring for my consulting business. How do I get to where you are so I can be able to do the things you're doing? Traveling, not glamorous things. I'm not a glamorous type of person, but the traveling, being able to work wherever I want to work, just having that flexibility to be able to do it. How do you do that? And that's a main question people ask all the time. So I'm like, oh, I'm doing something right.
With all you've done in your life and all the accomplishments you've made so far, what would you like to be remembered for most?
If I said, and this is a great question because someone had this, it was basically like a tombstone question. What do you want on your tombstone? In on my tombstone, if I could have on there that she lived her life out loud, honestly, genuinely, spitfire emotion on her sleeve, and she did it well, that'd be enough for me.
So if you know, you know, my last question is going to be, what does too skilled to fail mean to you?
Too skilled to fail means to me that I have, and I have to say this, I definitely have enough in me. I was born with the gifts within me. My mindset could either stop me or can propel me to doing, can stop me from doing what I want to do or propel me to doing everything that I want to do. And that is the main thing. So being too skilled to fail, meaning I'm getting out of my own way, out of my own mental and out of my own mind. Too skilled to fail means that if I do run into some hurdles, I'm going to I'm going to constantly think of my next play and next move to propel me to that next level. Maybe it's a shift in the direction that I'm going into, but either way, it's just not giving up. Not giving up. If you can pivot, if you can segue to something else, if you can kind of leave whatever you're doing alone for a while to come back to it later on, you are constantly, in my mind, that's that too skilled to fail. You are somebody who won't say no. So for me, I don't say no to things. I just say, well, how do you do it? Like if I don't know how to do something, I don't know how to do it, but how do you, teach me? And if you can open yourself up to other people teaching you and giving you the game, that makes you too skilled to fail. If you're closed minded, if you're not willing to learn anymore, I know we get older and we get set in our ways, but there's a lot of people who are younger who don't see the vision for themselves. This is not the vision for somebody else, it's for yourself. If you can see the vision for yourself to do more and just see it in your mind without seeing it in front of you, that is too skilled to fail.
All right, you guys, you have been on a journey with Tanisha Smith and Tanisha Smith. To learn a little bit more about me, keep on watching and learn more. I am now just launching the Too Skilled to Fail podcast out of my home office, where I am just going to get deep and more personal and ask extra questions of my guests. We do a lot of high level finding out what they're doing in their careers, but I really want to get to the nuts and bolts of the guests that we have on. So going forward, these type of questions are the questions I'm going to be asking my guests. So if you or someone you know want to be on the show, please let me know. Reach out to me. I am here. Again, you are too skilled to fail. Also, I always hashtag this now, there is more in you. And so just know that wherever you came from, wherever you're going, there is more in you to give, and you can give of yourself. Every time I feel like there is like not enough in me, there's nothing else for me to give, I find more by getting out of my own way and getting out of my own mind. So you can do that too. Thank you for watching. Peace.